One of the best things I purchased was a reverse osmosis water kit. It's a water filtration system, and I got it from Master. Actually, you can see it here better. Yeah, Master. It's all American made, I believe, based out of Arizona. And I got the top of the line system. I think it was like 550 bucks. It comes with, I think, 5 different filters, as you can see. What makes this top of the line is it's got this UV filter. So the conventional kits, I think, have at least 2 filters, a sediment, and like a, let's see what this says. Yeah, this is a sediment filter and a few other kind of basic filters that come with every kit. The model I got comes with this, as I mentioned, and this other kind of pump. I don't know if you can see that there, but you plug it in as well, and it's supposed to improve the taste of the water. So with the kit, you get this tank. So this holds the filtered water, and it's pretty easy to install. You just got to make some holes onto the side to mount this stuff. And then the only other complicated part is installing this into your drain tube from the sink. And then everything else is pretty easy to just screw on. So this, you have to drill a hole into the existing tube. So I have a PVC or plastic pipe, so it's easier to drill through than metal. But even that is not too difficult. But it does require that you have a drill and be able to drill a hole through there. Drill and drill bit, obviously. So can you buy this once? Not exactly, because you do have to replace the filters. They do recommend that you replace a certain set every year, and then I think every 3 years replace everything. And then they also do recommend you replace the tubing every now and then. I don't remember the frequency, but just it is antimicrobial tubing, but they do recommend you change it every now and then. As I mentioned, installation wasn't too hard. The drilling was the only complicated part. The other complication you might run into is when you connect these tubes. These collets are like, it's easy, you just plug it in and then tug on it to make sure it's locked. Sometimes they leak, and so you should also buy a tubing cutter. Not this, but there's a special kind where it'll make an exactly straight cut, you know, straight up and down. And that's kind of important, so that you make sure that it'll minimize the chance of leaks developing when you connect these. So sometimes you'll develop leaks wherever these tubes come in to these filter cartridges. And one thing I really like about Master is I would keep cutting this tube. It kept leaking in one of these filters, and so I kept cutting it to make it as flat as possible. But no matter how many times I cut it, how hard I tried to get it flat or straight up and down cut, it will still leak. And so when I talked to Master about it, they said, you know what, this is probably faulty. So they sent me a new filter free of charge. And what's great is customer service right here in the US, in Arizona. And so you get somebody who answers pretty much right away. You don't get some kind of weird customer call service. So that was really good. So you do have to replace the filters. So you can buy the whole kit once, and supposedly you should be able to buy this tank once. However, the whole point of this video, the reason why I'm making it, is because it's not. This tank does sometimes need to be replaced. And the reason why, I'm gonna set this up here so I can show you. Inside there's a rubber bladder that's filled with air, and that pressurizes that provides the pressure to push water out of the tank, so that you can get it out of this supplied water nozzle. So on mine, I got a replacement tank
And actually HomeMaster sent that free of charge as well, because I told them what the situation is. That so this is a nipple so that you can fill it with air, like with a bicycle tube or any kind of air pump, a bicycle pump I should say. But I think the bladder punctured because this is where you're supposed to be able to fill it with air, but water is coming out here. Let me push this in. See that? And if I try to lift it, it's really heavy because there's still water in it, even though I tried to empty it. Like, part of the process of installing it or troubleshooting is to fill the tank and empty it completely. And this is supposed to pressurize or fill the bladder with air. Obviously, if you've got water coming out of this, that means your bladder must be punctured and there's water in it. And the reason why I came to that realization or found that out, the steps that led to that, is I was getting no water coming out of the faucet. The pressure was very weak, so it should look like this. The water pressure should be like that. It should be pretty strong. Pardon the dirty dishes. And so it wasn't like that at all. It was like a very thin stream, very different from how it was and should be. And that's because this bladder had failed, and so there was no pressure driving the water up out of the tank and through the faucet. And I only realized that after talking to HomeMaster Perfect Water, is what they're also called, tech support. And maybe they didn't quite realize what the problem was, but the lady I talked to didn't quite know maybe what the problem was, but she said, okay, you obviously need new tanks, so they sent it free of charge, which is amazing. So I can't say enough great things about HomeMaster. By the way, I don't receive anything from them, not any affiliate links or anything like that. Just very happy with their product, their service, made in USA, great stuff. So just so you know, you can't exactly buy these once. I mean, this theoretically you should be able to buy it once. However, if there is a rubber bladder, I guess over time that could degrade, deteriorate, and fail. So that is what happened in this case. All right, so in summary, you should be able to buy this once, but you can't really, because you do have to replace the filters, and this tank may fail.
You know what? Actually, I changed that. If you do buy a reverse osmosis system from HomeMaster, then it is possible that you can buy it once, just because so far my experience with their customer service has been stellar. They've provided parts for me that failed, were within warranty actually, so they replaced it free of charge. So for me, there is no reason to go with anybody else. And actually, reverse osmosis system, there's nothing here really that can fail, except, you know, that bladder failed in the tank here, and the sometimes the cartridges, these collets and places where you stick in the tubing, I guess can fail from time to time. But with HomeMaster, so far they've been very good about replacing things free of charge. And so yeah, you know what, I think you can buy it once from HomeMaster.